Today on Chris Dyer's Creative Friends.
Chaos is a pattern. There is an element to my work, not the spray paint. The spray paint, there's a lot, it's all control. And it was always like, can scales in this technique. The other works, you gotta, let it do what it's gonna do and dance with it. And each technique that I investigate, after whatever the 1,000 hours or hundreds of hours of working with it, you start to gain some control over it. Each speaker has a nozzle, a little hose that is connected to the speaker, and then that is fed by a pressure tank. Depending on the songs, and it has these other little tweaks and little weird patterns. I could see like weird body figures, and like we're seeing things in it now. That motivated like some of these garden tools, like spraying paint out of garden tools, because I wanted to mount them on the swing stage. And then we're all on the ground hitting buttons, and they're spraying all crazy. I call it like a building printer. So this thing would be like.
So I was saying, I interviewed Chaz at the Wynwood Walls because he was painting there his last London Police mural, and he was talking about coming into Miami with respect and honoring the local, painters and legends. He mentioned you and stuff. And what, you were there at the beginning of Wynwood Walls, or?
Well, I was part of Primary Flight.
What does that mean?
Primary Flight was the first mural festival.
Okay, in Miami?
In Wynwood.
In Wynwood.
We popped it off.
Uh-huh, what year was this?
2008.
Okay.
And it was Books and Typo started it, and then I joined them on 2009. I painted for 2008, but then I helped them, and I was the guy in the streets with all of the airlesses, buffing everything, teaching everybody how to use lifts, because nobody had to use lifts back then. Like Shepherd Ferry's team didn't even know how to use a lift, so it was just running all the light towers, just like problem solving everything. And then 2009, we invited like 120 artists, and then like 300 graph heads also showed. It was mayhem.
Wow.
And then 2010, Tony kicked off Wynwood Walls. So I might have my years a little messed up.
I just bought this abandoned spot. Come and paint it for me, and let's make something.
Well, he hired Jeffrey Deitch.
I don't know who that is.
Deitch Gallery, really good gallery.
Yeah, I don't know.
Really good gallery that could get all the amazing art, like Barry McGee did the first year. Futura, Shep, Ryan McGinnis, like the lineup was fucking awesome.
I really don't pay too much attention to galleries in general. It's not something of my interest, but that's cool that they brought the big dogs there.
What's cool is that he knows he's not a curator.
Yeah.
So he hired somebody that's good at that. And like, and then he was even smarter as he hired his assistant, Megan, and then Megan curated it for, I want to say 2 or 3 more years, and then when Tony passed, Jessica took over, and the curating got really safe and boring, in my opinion.
Okay, just just different vibes.
It's really safe, just like not taking any risks.
Oh, what art is unsafe? Like, just I guess putting somebody who'd be quote unquote bad, or somebody who's doing something dangerous.
I don't think they're like a bad artist by any means. It's just like, I don't know, it's just boring.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm just bored by a lot of street art nowadays. Like,
is it that it's just like a lineup of popular artists?
Like, for instance, I think his work's very safe and boring.
Okay. Well, we will not put that.
I can do. The funny thing is, I've known a really, really long time. Yeah. I've
never met him. I see his art.
I've always busted his balls, and like he brought me to Outer Space Project, the first one, and like he invited me again the next year. I was like, wow, like why would you you like me busting your balls?
Yeah. Well, Drew, thank you so much.
Drew.
Should I not call you Drew? Should I call you Hoxxoh?
You call Doug.
Doug.
Fucking hell.
I do that with fucking area.
Bro, I
call Jack's Jakes. I call Jake's Jack.
Bro, I have that skill, dude. Somebody was trying to tell me it's like a name dyslexia.
I think I got that.
I'm really good at flipping.
Add weed and beer to it.
But it's a D. I'll get, you had the first letter.
Okay.
Big
But
D.
Big D.
Big D
People
dub.
call me Hox.
Woo! Hoxxoh.
There we go.
What a complicated name you got. Where did that
it's-
name come from?
It's really Hox.
Hox. Not Hoxxoh?
Well, the Hoxxoh was because Hox was taken when Instagram,
Uh-huh.
when I got the account. So I made it a palindrome. But it's also an ambigram. It's a word you can read upside down.
So it should stop at the X, and the other X is just a mirror effect. But okay.
Yeah.
So it's not Hoxxoh.
I mean, but now it is. Like, it's just,
Uh-huh.
like, I don't fight it.
I had the hardest
bother me.
time reading your name on the streets before I
Everybody.
met you, and I didn't know. Like, hold on.
Yeah, well, how do you say it?
Yeah. Why complicate it so much, or is that the nature of your reality?
I said, yes. Yes, it's unintentional. It was like, I don't know, it just looked cool.
Uh-huh.
When I was like, oh, okay, fuck it.
Well, it's great when a name
That's
is
not
like
taken.
an art.
Sick. Now I'm gonna base my whole career on it.
Well, your name is an art piece in itself. As you said, it's a
Yeah.
palindrome, it's symmetrical.
Well, then it's the most like geometry of all the letters. It's the most geometric of them.
yeah.
There's
No.
Squares, circle. It's the platonic shapes. I don't know
It's
if I'm
like you
saying
can
that
make a
right.
mandala made out of your name if you wanted to.
Kind of, yeah.
Have you?
No.
Dude, I want to see that. A mandala.
I am about to switch up the portals next week in Kansas City.
What do you mean by that?
I'm gonna break from the off-centered circles.
Okay.
I'm gonna do 4 8s.
What does that mean?
The number 8.
Ah,
That composition or infinity, but that pattern.
okay.
In 4 of them.
That's cool.
And then when I designed it, then I looked up what 4 8s mean, and it's a really beautiful, like it's like abundancy. I'd have to read it, but it goes back to like Hinduism, and
Okay.
and it's like wishing prosperity and abundancy and like nothing but like awesomeness to you. I want to actually read what that means.
Yeah, totally. Well, you find it. I'm gonna big up my sponsors, Yak Snacks. Big up Yak Snacks. I love you. Yak Snacks is psilocybin mushroom gummies. They taste delicious. They get me slightly high every episode. So I'm gonna eat one right now. Would you like one?
Sure.
Yeah, they're 1/4 gram, and won't get you so high that you won't be able to drive after this, but it will put us in a good mood. If you're interested in finding some of these, hit up Yak Snacks on their Instagrams, tell them that Chris Dyer sent you, and that I send them all my love. Thank you for supporting this show. It's so awesome to have somebody believing in this project of sharing beautiful artists.
So this is what I mean by 4 8s.
Wow.
And it's kind of like moving me into the direction of like,
So you've done it before?
no,
So this is
the mock-up.
Okay. Based on a previous mural you've done?
Yeah, I just like kind of mirrored it and kind of flipped it around.
Uh-huh.
It leads into breaking, like going in a fractal pattern, which
Yeah,
I have
yeah.
yet to like expand it to that.
Yeah.
There's
I've
like
done that.
hints of it, you know, but
I like doing that too. Sometimes I'll do like a cool skull and it's like, oh, what if I like flip it and make a whole face that can be seen as 2 skulls going sideways, but one
Yeah.
skull from the front. And
Yeah.
you could even just like flip it over and all of a sudden you got a whole mandala of skulls if you
Yeah.
got a wall big enough and so on. But anyways, thank you so much for being back here in my yard. Thank you for contributing one of your portals to my collection of murals back here. It's so nice that you came to contribute.
thanks for having me.
Yeah, what are you doing out here in Tampa?
I'm gonna be painting for the Guava Mural Fest. What is
Guava
it?
City Jam.
Guava City Jam.
Yeah, Pauline and me just finished painting our walls out there. I don't know where you've been. It's your second time in Tampa or Tampa Bay?
Yeah, I'll be my second time painting in
Yeah.
Tampa.
And you did some work for Tony before?
Yeah, we did a weird shopping mall. It was fun though. We had the garden sprinkler on a pulley system.
Yeah.
Tony keeps on giving me these super experimental opportunities for murals. So
Fantastic. Isn't
Yeah.
that what you want? Somebody to be like, okay, here's a wall, here's a budget, go and do
Yeah.
whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah.
And you'd be like, whoa, I got this idea where like, I jump from the top of a roof on a string with a bucket, and then, I don't
Yeah.
know. You come up with the weirdest ideas for your art. But you're from Miami, and I want to ask you about that. Like, usually I've been wanting to interview you in Miami at your studio, but every time I go there, it's around Basel, and it's so busy. You're like, Chris, I don't have time this time, next time, and it's always the same. So now you're here.
Yeah.
St. Pete's come. Tell me a little bit about the Miami art scene that you're part of.
Man, the Miami art scene. Man, I don't even know how to talk about the Miami. It's somehow surviving. I feel like all of the artists have moved, or I don't know, like where my studio is in Little Haiti, there used to be over 100 artists working. And now there's like 2 of us that have physical studios.
Why is that? Because area got gentrified?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
because Miami got too popular.
For a long time, yeah. Like it happened to our area, man, I want to say like 10 years ago.
Little Haiti?
Yeah, we got outpriced. Now they're just finally like opening up some restaurants, like a place where I can get something to eat, like right across from my studio. Previously, it was just, the only thing they did was raise the rent.
That's so funny because you
didn't provide like the classic coffee shop and like, you know what I mean?
Right. At least if you're gonna raise the rent, give us
like
some amenities and
something.
and, you know,
like
like,
nothing. But now that's changing. I mean, there's a little Italian spot that just opened, but the restaurant that opened before that was like this place called Sonny's, and it's like it's an insanely expensive steak.
Yeah.
It's not a place I'm gonna go eat very often, if ever.
Yeah,
it's like
yeah,
a $300 tomahawk.
I wonder if they're gonna turn it into the next Wynwood.
No.
No?
No, they have like, they already right off the rip, like no murals is the vibe.
Really?
Yeah.
In Little Haiti?
Yeah.
Oh, weird.
In that area where my studio is.
Oh, okay, that's weird. I don't know. I painted, a few times there because of Ray from Hoxxoh has his studio.
Yeah.
He's getting priced out of there.
Yeah.
That kind of sucks. But tell me about the artists. Like, who's your favorite Miami artist? Or who's your friends that you
Kelly
paint
Breeze
with?
is one of my favorite artists.
Okay.
Magnus Sodomine, Johnny Robles, Michael Vasquez, even though he moved back to St. Pete.
Oh yeah, he's very talented.
Yeah,
you brought him to my house last time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of great... invited to my barbecues, but he never comes. So Michael, what's up, dude?
Like, shout out. I mean,
Are you friends with Terms?
I'm not friends with him, but I have a few of his pieces, actually,
Okay, cool.
that I bought from the graffiti museum when he showed there.
Oh, nice.
Reginald O'Neill. Is that his last name? Yeah. I'm like giving a shout out. I'm like, I don't know if I'm saying his name right. I knew him, like, you might have known him by Ellie Love Each Other was his Instagram for a long time.
Uh-huh.
He worked a lot with Axel Void back in the day, and Reggie's career is just catapulted. Reginald O'Neill.
So, like, does living in Miami make it that your career can blow up more now that you got Basel, where like the whole art world comes to see all the murals, and you've had the whole year to paint murals everywhere? You're unescapable. It's giving you the chances to like blow up, or is it being the opposite? Like, what's the vibe of Basel as a magnificator?
I mean, I definitely benefited from, living there. I had all year, so much time to paint. So that when Basel did come around, like, I had a big presence. But I don't know. I feel like Miami's a really difficult city to cut your teeth as an artist.
Really? I would imagine there's a lot of people with money there that want to show their wealth through murals and everything else.
I wish. I wish, man.
Okay.
I don't really sell much. All my work's on the road.
Okay.
I rarely work at home.
But that's because perhaps when you got a situation like Basel, all these festivals come, they see you, and then they bring you to their towns. Maybe that's helped you?
Maybe a little. I've never really thought it, like, tried to figure out the benefit on that.
Because the rest of us,
I mean, what's amazing is that for Basel is, I get to meet so many amazing artists that come every year.
Right. And connections goes a long way.
Yeah. And then I end up hosting, in a sense, like, oh, you're in my city, like, take you around, show you what's up, like, maybe get you on a wall. That's even super impossible now, but yeah, so it, like, when I hit the road, there was always somebody I could hit up. And like that doesn't, I don't think that's a reflection of Miami. I think that's more of a reflection of like
Street art culture.
Yeah, the
graffiti.
street art graph culture. Like whatever city I'm going to, I know I can find. There's a graph writer or some kind of muralist that I can link up with.
Right, and that's not because you're from Miami. That's simply
that's just our
how
culture.
we do, and we all like do favors for each other and support it, and hopefully we can like live off our dreams and soul expressions. But so the whole Basel thing hasn't benefited you in your career at all, you would say?
I mean, I think it has, but not in a drastic way where I can like give it credit. You know, like.
Has it make Miami cooler because there's so much art there now, or has it cheesed it out, or made art kind of like too much about the money? Or?
I don't know. I mean, I'm maybe a little salty with it. I think at times too much of a good thing is a bad thing. Like I think Wynwood's oversaturated. Like in the early years, it's really nice. I think murals are more impressive when there's blank walls near them. And there's some breathing room between each mural, but that's just my preference, you know.
Yeah, too much is oversaturated.
Yeah, it's just like you're burnt out in 5 seconds. You know what I mean? Like you go to a museum and like I can't go longer than you know what I mean? Like there's a moment where I'm like museums, I just can't see any more art.
Yeah.
I don't know. Basel's there's like Nada. I really enjoy going to that. Untitled's another fair I would enjoy. It's really cool. Nada's really good at like a survey of what's going on.
What is Nada?
What does it fucking stand for? It's a contemporary art fair. They're younger galleries. No, but Nada's an abbreviation for something.
Sounds like nothing in Spanish, but
yeah, Nada.
It's
just gallery. What is it? New Art Dealers Alliance.
Okay.
But it is a really good, I feel like it's a good survey of like what artists are making, because there's a lot of galleries there that take a lot of risks and that they're showing works that, you know, you wouldn't expect to find.
Which is outside of the trends.
Yeah, it's not like Context or Art Miami where it's just super shiny, trendy bullshit that you've always seen.
Yeah, but it's still good art.
Yeah, I'm not a judge of what's good and bad.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna say somebody's not an artist, you know. But what my tastes are very different than.
Yeah. So do you enjoy when the circus comes to town every year? Is it exciting, or you're just like, oh man, another Basel?
It's
here we go.
I think every year I'm like, I'm not doing anything next year. No, like I really enjoy the week before, like. The couple weeks before Basel is like really magical. Everybody's in town, installing, creating, making work.
Yeah, that's the best.
And all the local galleries do their openings, and it's. I really enjoy that time of year. The week of Basel, it's just too much. I did 2 years ago. I didn't do anything. It was the first time in like I don't even know a dozen years that I didn't show. I wasn't in a show. I didn't have anything going on, and I really enjoyed it. It was amazing. Like I got to do what my wife has been doing forever, which is like you go to this brunch and then you go see this fair and then you go to this, and like that year it started early.
Yeah.
I think we started going to openings on Monday. By Thursday I saw everything that I wanted to see. And I didn't even go out for a couple nights. It was great. Like,
I go back and forth, like, because whenever I go to Basel, I'm coming from a different town. So some years I come to throw down and do a show or do a bunch of murals. And then the next year I go to just look. I'll do like one live painting gig here and there just to like hold space, but I want to go and see what other people are doing and get inspired and not miss out. Because when you're doing your thing, it's like, well, I got to stay here with the show and not check everything else. Yeah, it's like full-time working. How long have you been doing Basel? How did it all start? Like, were you there from the beginning?
I didn't show at the first one because the first one actually it got canceled because of 9/11. Like that's the real history of Miami is that year it got canceled because of 9/11. There was a group of artists.
We're talking about the art fair.
Yeah, the main convention center.
Yeah.
So it was canceled. There was no other fairs back then. It was just the convention center. But a group of artists took over an abandoned house in what is now the design district. and you know, Bhakti Baxter, Daniel Arsham, Brandon Opalka, Fake Co-op. Like, there's, if you look up at the lineup of artists that took part in that show, it made it on the New York Times, like, front cover, like, and there some of them are like, I think the word they were coining them were like the young Miamians. I wasn't part of that, but I had a lot of friends that were. I'm trying to remember my first time. Maybe it was like 2003 or 4, 2005. I started showing during Basel and going to it. Like, the first Basel I remember was, like, a fond memory of it was they had Iggy Pop play on the beach on the opening night.
Wow.
Of the convention center.
That's cool.
And back then, like,
he was an artist too, right?
Iggy? I think so. I mean, dude, it's Iggy Pop. Like,
but
visual artist? Yeah.
No, I mean, obviously he's a musical artist, but I think he does sketchy drawings and stuff of himself naked, perhaps, if I remember. I don't know.
He's so rad.
Yeah.
We saw him perform at 3 Points like a year or two ago. It was insanely inspiring.
What did you see now? He's so buff.
Ancient, dude.
Yeah, like, he's still like, even though his skin's like kind of like dripping off, he's still like super
fell off stage.
He fell?
He fell off stage, and we all thought, like, fuck, like, show's over. No, dude, he jumps back up and, like, continues the show. Like, I think he's, like, didn't break, but he fractured some ribs on the fall, and it's still, dude, he's a beast.
Oh my God. Like, true punk rock, because that's the roots of punk rock, too.
He's king, bro. And it was just, like, inspiring to see somebody at his age just killing it. And there wasn't one moment that you were like, because previous to seeing it, it was like, dude, how is he, you know what I mean? Like, how is he going to perform? Dude, you weren't like, he's too old. You know, that thought didn't even, it was more just like, holy shit, this guy's,
I want to be like him.
Legend. Yeah,
I want to be like him when
80 or something, I think he's at. Or
that's crazy.
In his 70s, or I think he's late 70s.
So that was Miami Art Basel, the art fair. But when did street artists and graphers all come together and be like, this is the fucking place we all gotta throw down every year, the beginning of December?
I think it's 2008. I get my years a little mixed up, but I think it was 2008, and that was when Primary Flight started. And Books and Typo created, you know, a public museum, you know, murals for the people.
Okay.
Was the idea, you know, instead of, you can't, because you had to pay to go to the fair, and you got, you know, like, so he wanted to bring it to the streets. And I think the first year he had maybe a dozen or two dozen artists, and then the following year it grew to like 60 artists that they invited, and then I think on the third year it was like 100, and I mean there was like 60 or 80 artists invited, and then like several hundred other graffiti writers come to town. And most of the artists that are invited, they are graph writers or have some roots in it.
Yeah.
And I was the guy, I think it was 2009.
Curating?
No, I didn't curate. I was the guy in the streets dealing with all the buffing everything, dealing with all the lifts, teaching all the artists, because most of the artists didn't even know how to use lifts back then. You know, getting scaff.
What artists were there that year?
You know, we had Shepard Ferry, Retina, El Mac, MSK, Askew came, like there's a whole bunch of them that came through New Zealand one year.
And this is in Wynwood?
It was all around Wynwood and a little bit in the design district, but primarily it was all Wynwood.
That's crazy that you can get that big of a lineup, you know, just be like, we got walls, come and paint them. But back then, you know, these big artists was like, whatever was working.
Primaries was basically the first mural fest. There was another one that Blue put together in Europe back then.
Yeah.
And it was kind of the you know, the starting point for this mural program that's grown. You know, cities are embracing it.
That's crazy. So you were teaching Shepard Ferry how to use a lift.
I taught his team how to use a lift. That was kind of like, that was a trip. And my thing would be like, I'd take you all the way up a 60-footer as high as it goes. And then be like, okay, everything's easier after this.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people I found out were scared of heights. And they're very white knuckled. You see how you get it. It's wild how many muralists are literally super scared of heights.
Yeah, I think because I'm afraid of heights. Like once I did the first time I did my big tall mural, I'm in a small cherry picker and like 3 stories up and the whole thing's moving. And I'm like, is this what's like if I keep on growing as a muralist, is this gonna be a scenario where I'm gonna be up here feeling I'm gonna die all the time? I don't want this. And I almost like, you know, pushed away big buildings. You do big, very, very tall buildings, right?
The highest lift was like 130 feet, and that was intense.
How many stories is that? Because I'm about 13. Is it like super scary?
Yeah.
Like,
so if you wanted the lift to move 1 foot, you make it move 1 foot, and then it would swing like 4 to 6 feet.
oh, you're like fuck
like,
coming down, moving the 1 foot, and then going back up.
Yeah,
Too much.
that would take like 10, 15 minutes to come down from that height.
But moving the whole fucking thing.
You just needed to go over like one, and it would just do this wild swing back.
No, worth it.
Yeah.
Oh my God, man.
Luckily, the team I put together, the guys loved it, so they did that section.
So let's go back to like that first Basel where all the street artists came. So you guys crushed the streets?
It was so chaotic, total freedom. The city had no idea what we were doing. Even on like the second year, they still hadn't like caught on to what was going on. So you had, dude, I was driving lifts with like a light tower connected to the back, crossed like 15 blocks through Wynwood, and like I buffed all of the RC Cola. We had in one night, not like in hours actually.
Were graph people mad at you?
No, we know like through my crew and like Typo's crew, like we knew most of the writers, and RC Cola was dedicated to graffiti. So that was.
So you gave him a whole space to properly do it.
And it was already like the wall along 95 was already a known wall. We just managed to get the whole block for all the graph writers.
Yeah.
It was wild times. Like the buffing aspect, like I had 2 airlesses in my pickup truck with a generator, and I had a guy standing on the top of my Tacoma and another guy on the ground, and I would just slowly drive, and we were murdering out this whole wall, and like it was fun, dude. Yeah, fond memories of those eras.
This is 2008, 2009, first
10.
flight, and then every year now, like every single street artist in the world comes to Miami.
But like Wynwood Walls, like really put it on the map with that. I mean, Tony was smart. You know?
Yeah, tell me about Wynwood Walls, because they seem to have become the epicenter of the whole Wynwood street art scene.
You know, like Tony came in and you know, big developer bought up, you know, like I forget, it was like 13 parcels or something like that, and hired Jeffrey Deitch to curate it, and the lineup of artists that they brought in were, you know, amazing, super inspiring. Like Barry McGee, you know, Futura, Shep, Kenny, Ryan McGinnis. There was a good, I want to say 4 or 5 years that are just really inspiring, the lineup of artists they would bring in.
I used to love, so my first Basels were 2011, and you'd go there and it was a restaurant, and all the street artists would get there and we'd all get drunk together, and it was a good vibe.
Joey's.
Yeah.
Joey's was the first restaurant there.
And now I go there, it's like, oh, I want to go and like drink. It's like, no, it's not a restaurant anymore. Now you just look at the art and buy some stuff. So it's kind of
they
like,
still have Joey's.
Yeah?
Oh, they had the restaurant inside.
Inside, yeah.
Yeah, that's right. I think they're reopening it or something, or I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, they charge now.
You want to smoke a joint?
Sure.
Okay.
You have to pay to go in.
Yeah, you got to pay to go in, and it's not.
COVID kicked that off, I believe. I don't know, dude.
So
I feel like everything changed once they started charging.
How much has Wynwood changed in the last 10 years?
I think back in the day, Tony would, like, you didn't get paid to do the murals, but Tony would commission or buy a couple paintings off the artists, and that was kind of like, you know, the kickback. And then to this day, I don't think artists get really paid.
Really?
Yeah.
It's just the honor of being there.
Yeah.
Because like
you know, they host them, they put them up, you know, like they invest a lot in the work, but you know, I might be wrong. Like, don't quote me on it, but from what I understand, it's like I don't know, it's a whatever.
You paint other places by now.
Yeah, I've painted on a few of their buildings. Despite actually 2 of them, I collaborated with D-Face on one.
Oh yeah, I saw that quarter.
It turned out to be they owned the building, and then I did another project that following year on another one of their buildings. But I've never been like, whatever.
D-Face is from London, Ontario.
London.
London, England?
Yeah.
Or is it London,
There's
Ontario?
a London, Ontario?
There's a London, Ontario, and I believe he's
there's
from
a Paris everywhere too.
Does he speak with a British accent?
Yeah, he's super
Oh,
London.
man, I thought he was Canadian. Is D-Face Canadian? Please
that's hilarious.
write in the comments. Is
He's
D-Face
very London, man.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh man, maybe I'm screwing it up. I never met him. I was under the impression that he, was somewhere in Ontario, Canada.
That's awesome. No,
Yeah.
no,
I don't know all the artists, and I don't know where they're all. There's a lot of information out there.
Yeah, these good people, man. Him and Boots.
Nice. Okay, so tell me about your art. Like, you got different styles of your art. For me, your art's very unique, different. You find your own way to have your expression that's like nobody else's. I hope your eye is okay. You do your portals, which is, it seems like it's like mastery of can control. Is this
Yeah.
like a spiritual expression of some kind, or this just looks cool?
I mean, it is meditative.
Tell me what it means to you.
Hyper repetitive, like pretty much the same mark I'm hitting.
But from different angles, which is
different
a
angles,
skill.
Different scales, like sizes, but it's still the same mark, which is using half the cone of spray paint.
Okay.
So it comes out, I don't know, I kind of discovered that around 2008. I had just graduated with a degree in architecture, and it was the worst time to have that degree.
Oh.
That's when the real estate bubble explosion. So I focused on painting, and I found that mark. It was first time I was using it. It was really chaotic. It was like I was making like just patterns, like discovering all the different patterns I could make with it, and then I drew a big circle to contain it, and then I did concentric rings, which everybody thought. I mean, they were mandalas, but wasn't my intention. But I rode with it, and then I off-centered the concentric circles, which made the portal.
Yeah.
I did that one in Washington D.C. for powwow.
Okay.
And the portal really got me a lot of exposure. You know, like I was really lucky. Like it was one of those nights. Like I finished painting. I posted a shot on Insta and woke up the next day, and it was just like crazy amount of likes and followers, and that's when blogs were still a thing. Like High Fructose gave me a shout out, and Colossal gave me a shout out. So that was pretty exciting to like, okay, I'm a little validation, like a little extra motivation, like keep at it kind of thing.
Yeah, keep on pulling the thread.
Yeah, but it was like the can was the first mechanism, and that's kind of what I've continued to experiment with, or like it's a big focus in my work is different non-traditional mark making tools is my long thread.
Okay.
So instead of a paintbrush,
yeah,
it's like I was using paint pendulums.
Yeah.
This is a bottle full of paint tied to a string, and I'm throwing it.
Yeah.
Which led to like me working with dustpans, like pouring paint in dustpans, and then using that kind of just like let the paint fall and stretch it and chop it. I started making different apparatuses to hold spray paint cans, and I did a few of those, and I don't know, they were cooler sculptures than like paint with them. But then when I started working with sprinklers and like lawn watering tools, the things you would irrigate with, that's led to a few other things, but like it kind of like if you could pump water through it, you could pump paint through it. It's kind of been like oh, I wonder what that would paint like. So yeah, it's like I find these things that make a weird mark, and then I work at them and try to make a pattern or figure out how to paint with it.
You're like exploring like what's happening if you do.
How.
Yeah.
How it's delivering it, and then what mark is it making, and then
that whole thing
what can you do with it,
That whole thing with the technology and the sprinklers and the new applications for things that were already there. Was that happening at the same time that you were making the portals with the caps, or did you do the portals and then at one point you're like, oh, enough of this, I want to try something new? Like,
what year was that? I want to say 2019 or 2018.
Carlos, you wanna hit this?
It was
Okay.
a mural in Wynwood, 54th and North Miami, big wall. They wanted a portal, but they didn't have the budget. It just, with spray paint, it's just, the paint's not cheap, right?
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
just the time it would take me and like the lift rental, and like, I was like, I had already been using it once, just testing at the studio, but it was it's called a Rainbird. That's actually the company, but it's the sprinkler that goes like that one, like the most iconic sprinkler, I guess you would say.
Yeah.
And it's total chaos. Like there's not a lot of control. You can control the radius and the height, and that's it.
Yeah.
But I pitched them the idea. They loved it. And it was actually on that one where I started doing these white arches. So it was kind of like allow chaos to happen and then throw some order on it, and some structure to it. And that one was like, it was funny, like once I was doing the arches, and the arches were just reacting to the architecture. It was where the expansion joints were.
Okay.
On this big wall.
Uh-huh.
And it was kind of like, for me, it was like a nod to my degree I got in architecture. So it was like, oh, am I kind of using it, I guess?
Did you ever like just
No.
you never used your architecture?
not to build in it, like, no, never.
But you were like,
I thought
I have to do something more than just paint. I must construct some kind of
Something.
like technology, because if not, my whole degree is for nothing.
Maybe, I mean, I definitely, the program of studying architecture, it's you really learn a good work ethic. And you learn to operate with no sleep and like crazy deadlines, like
Just the process of going through university.
and that program, like we would joke it's architorture is the degree you're getting. It's relentless. They would put you through. I definitely walked away with that, like, but applying it to anything else, not really.
That's too bad, but I think sometimes schooling in general is just good for discipline.
Totally. I mean,
And
dude,
applying your mind and organizing and figuring
I
things
did
out.
10 years at university. Like I was collecting
10
degrees.
years?
I would have stayed longer if they didn't stop from me allowing to borrow more money. They wouldn't let me borrow any more money. So I was like, all right, fine. Like,
You had to stop because the government's
they
like,
wouldn't-
dude.
yeah. It was like at 90,000. They were like, we cannot let you borrow any more money. And I was like, man. And that was just I studied painting and art history. That I paid for. I had a company putting up Christmas lights for cities. So I would work for 3 months and make enough money to pay for my tuition and just study.
Yeah.
But for the architecture, was too demanding. I couldn't run the company, and I was young. I was like 22, 23.
It's crazy how expensive like United States schooling is. Like I get it, like you're supposed to get this big education.
It's a trap, dude.
No,
It's
they make you
slavery,
into a slave right away.
I mean, what was even worse for me was like I graduated when there was no work. I was overqualified for any job. I ended up working in a lumber mill for a year and a half. And then they fined me $30,000 for going delinquent. So it's like really kick you when you're down. So I went from owing 90 to like $120,000.
What do you mean going delinquent? Because you didn't pay?
I couldn't pay. I was like basically couch surfing. I was home like.
Oh my goodness! In Canada, they give you, because I also took a student loan. I only went up to 12,000, and I got like 3 years of education for that. That's why I'm always shocked that the Americans like 100,000. It's like, whoa, dude, you're fucked with 100,000. You basically, they own you.
Yeah.
You gotta put,
I mean, it was motivation to be an artist. Like I feel like I don't want to share this information. They're gonna be like, Doge is gonna be like, oh, go get that guy. He still hasn't paid his student loans.
Hopefully not.
No, but
you're like just a person.
They can't garnish my wages.
Yeah.
It made me be an entrepreneurship and be self-employed, which was just being an artist.
Yeah, you got some skills.
Because I went to go work for somebody, they were gonna garnish my wages. They'll get it from you.
Hi. We take a little break from our super awesome podcast show so that I, your artist friend Chris Dyer, can tell you about my brand, Positive Creations, which I have been doing for 20 years. And with this project, I share my art through different products, maybe beautiful clothes that you can use in normal life or in the festival world, or skateboards that you can ride, or games like puzzles, or kendamas and flow toys, or use slip mats for your records. Basically a lot of functional things that just add fun and magic into your existence. So I hope you like it. Check out positivecreations.net, positivecreations.net. That was not a glitch. And yeah, I'll talk to you soon. Blessings. Well, so back to your art. You got the portals, and it seems like you're like figuring out technology that's almost like a control, chaotic, abstract presentation that I don't know if you even want to do what you do. It's like you're trying to control this energy, and it might be like, I guess this is what I'm presenting. How much you have to surrender into it. It all seems to me like a spiritual practice. I don't know if you're spiritual or not. This looks spiritual to me. And
I mean, yeah.
You know, there's order here, chaos in the other side, kind of like what Alison Gray does.
I mean, there is order in chaos.
Yeah.
Chaos is a pattern. There is an element to my work, not the spray paint. The spray paint, there's a lot, it's all control. And it was always like, can skills in this technique. The other works, there's an element like, you gotta, let it do what it's gonna do and dance with it. And
yeah.
Figure out how to work with it. But in each, technique that I investigate, after, whatever the 1,000 hours or hundreds of hours of working with it, you start to gain some control over it.
Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah.
Must bring some satisfaction.
A little bit.
Because it's like you're controlling a storm.
It helps to like when, somebody wants, they see what I'm doing, but they want it on another wall. Like it helps to be able to like, I can do that again.
Yeah, or kinda.
Or close enough.
Yeah.
It's gonna feel like that.
Yeah. They won't notice.
There's some where I get it really, really close to the mock-up sketch. But I've always been really lucky with like doing mock-ups, because it's with the portal, it'd just be like I would basically take the last one I did and Photoshop it on their wall and be like, this is what you're not going to get, but it's gonna feel a lot like this.
Because when a client asks me for a sketch, I actually give him a scribble fucking pen drawing, and they're like, well, that looks shitty. Like, I don't want that on my wall. It's like, but I'll make it good, I swear.
Look at the other work.
But till I do it, I cannot really prove to them that it will look good. And I was like, how can you present something that you haven't really even seen how it worked out?
That was the idea, is like, you really want to let me, make something new for you.
Explore, yeah.
Like, you don't want you want the next one. Was kind of the idea.
Do you ever feel like it's like a game and sometimes you lose at that game? Do you ever make a painter where I'm like, okay, this one just did not work out?
I mean, that's like 95% of them.
Really?
I definitely, it was kind of a loose mantra at the studio. It was like, what was it, like, hugging the uncomfortable and embracing failure was the vibe. Like, just like enjoy failing, and hurry up and fail. Like, the more you fail, the more you're gonna learn.
Okay.
So that was like,
there's a lot of
been a constant theme in it. Like, hurry up and do it wrong so I can figure out how to do it right, or at least do it better, or do it where it looks good. It's something I want to see.
Yeah, that's a good attitude to have.
Yeah, it helped. It helps in general. It's like, I mean, there's times I get a little nervous, like on some of the bigger projects, but I still find a new way to do something I haven't really done, where you get those, the butterflies a little bit before you.
But that's exciting, and that's what art should be. You shouldn't, like, I love coming into a job. What's the last job that I felt that way? It was recent, and I was like,
I haven't done something like this.
Man, like, I gotta come in and like do something really good,
Yeah.
And I don't know if I'm gonna pull it off, because I'm trying to do something new, and I'm trying to improve. Like, you want to improve, but when you improve, sometimes you might fail at that next step.
Don't stress out, just go for it.
But like, I'm not gonna like cower it away and just do what everybody wants me to do at every point, like.
The portals, vortex portal, whatever, those became a little redundant. Where it was,
Too safe for you.
I was doing them over 10 years.
Yeah.
So like, and I didn't really understand that, you know, like, there's a thing like about a gallery lasting 10 years or just having a career for 10 years. It's like, it dawned on me one day. It was like, because I didn't get it. And then I was like, oh, I got to keep doing this. Like, I don't want to paint these anymore. I've been doing it for 10 years. I want to do something else, you know? And it's like, oh, I get it. Like, it's really impressive when you see somebody's career that lasts a very long span of time and they don't burn out and they just keep going for it.
So you think there's you think there's an actual, sorry to interrupt you, but like, do you think there's an actual something admirable of an artist that found something that works and he's got to do it over and over and over again, even though in his heart he's like, ugh, I'm tired of doing this, I don't want to do it, but like, I'll do it because that's what people want. Is that something heroic almost?
For me, yeah, I really respect artists.
Because I appreciate you doing that, and I appreciate you coming here and not like grabbing a bucket of paint and throwing it all over the whole thing and be like, well, that looks interesting.
I mean, if we rigged the sound piece, I think you would want one of those. Too.
Yeah, I think I would need a bigger wall for that. But
yeah, I have a lot of respect for like Atomics. It's super impressive. His work ethic it's insane.
Well, his whole thing is the repetitiveness of that one character. It's almost like I don't think he's got room to not do it.
It's just like, but his wild style, his atomic pieces are amazing. Like and he could paint anything. Like, the Atomic has tons of skills. He enjoys painting the chipped tooth orange.
As long as he enjoys it, then it's
everywhere.
a blessing.
I think he's like in over 40 countries now and like counting. Like
he's a beast.
He's on a mission. Man.
He's the biggest bomber I've probably seen. It's cool that he's from Florida and that he reps Florida, and his character is actually really cool and like.
It's Miami. Is it good?
Yeah.
The Orange Bowl. The day when they tore down the Miami Orange Bowl, that's when he went and painted the oranges on and around the buildings where it was torn down.
Okay.
And it was a little tongue-in-cheek as the story I remember, because when street art and monikers, the graph writers would kind of shit on it a bit, like it wasn't like respected, let's say, as it is, so to speak, now in a sense where like everybody's kind of in the same lane. But it was, I feel like him, like, I don't know, not mocking it, but it's like something I think he thought was like a funny joke, so to speak, and then grew into this, career he's made out of it.
That character, is that an existing character from
he had to chip the tooth because he had a cease and desist from the Orange Bowl. It's literally their character.
Because it's the character of a baseball team.
No, the stadium.
The stadium. The stadium had
it was just called the Orange Bowl.
Okay.
And that's where they did the Orange Bowl, like the football.
Okay, it's
college football.
Okay.
I forget what other sports they played there, but it was primarily football.
Yeah, and people were mad that they tore down that spot.
Some of us, it's like this nostalgic.
It was
building,
like a classic thing.
Yeah, like where the Dolphins play. A lot of us, we call it Joe Robbie because that was the first name, and then since then they've had like 20 other names, whatever sponsors paying for it, But like we still call it Joe Robbie. So yeah, Miami's like it's like 100 years old. And like, so we don't have a lot of like old buildings that like have a story and a history to it. Like, we don't have much of a history.
Miami's only 100 years old.
I think it just turned. It's like, I don't know exactly, but it's like maybe 105 now or something like that.
Why did Miami, from all the cities in Florida, blow up more because of the weather? Like, is it the weather? Because to me, it's like way humid down there and even hotter. Up here, we got the best weather. Like the weather's the best up here, if you ask me, in Tampa.
Yeah, you guys have better winters. The weather is better the more you go north. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Miami's just got
the energy.
It's got some magic to it, man. Like,
do you like living there, or is it stressful? I get stressed out every time I come to Miami. It's just too much.
There's to be real, there's a little love-hate, like, but you find your spots. Like for me, I kayak a lot. Like I can leave my studio, be on Little River in 15 minutes, and I'm on an island in like 30 minutes. Mm-hmm. And I'm not near anybody. You're out in the middle of nowhere. You're staring at the city, but you're in nature. There's manatees, there's dolphins. Sometimes the bird life out. Tons of birds are out there. And if I didn't have that, I couldn't live in Miami. Like it's intense. It doesn't stop.
Yeah.
And now it's like, I don't know how anybody lives there. It's insanely expensive. Like,
yeah. Well, you're always welcome up here in St. Pete. So chill. I'm trying to convince all my friends to move up here and make a chill paradise.
My wife's a city girl. She's from Bogota and she needs a city.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she has to like, and Miami, she considered it a baby city, but it's like, when you compare
to Bogota,
it's like there's only like 10 other cities that they can even compare with. So
yeah, no, you know what I mean? Lima is
all cities are small.
Lima is 10 million people, and it's just like
it's insanity.
Yeah, it's too much. So let's go back to your art. So this is not a spiritual expression. You're not a psychedelic man who's transversed through dimensions and expressing it through your art. Seems like it. I don't know.
No, I mean, like, I'm not gonna say it's not. I don't know. For me, in like the realm of spirituality, like, you know, maybe I'll change as I get older. But the idea of like having structure to it, like, you know, like it
doesn't have to be a religion.
Like I find exactly, but like I find comfort in not knowing. Like I find comfort in nothingness, and I feel like a lot of times when people are on those type of journeys, they want answers. They need to have it, and they need to have an understanding. And to currently speaking, like, I'm really okay with like not knowing, and like to me the idea sounds like a really amazing, you know, sleep I'm gonna get. And you know, the few times I never did ayahuasca, but the DMT was like, oh, this is how you practice like dying. Like so if like, you know, God forbid I have some kind of critical illness, I've definitely been like, I am going to be doing a lot of DMT just to like, and probably do ayahuasca at that point. But like,
yeah,
to just like learn about, all right, let's kick this dream off on a good one. So, because this is it, as far as we know.
Yeah. Well, I like your approach to spiritual knowledge, because none of us know.
Yeah.
We can have beliefs, and you can be like, oh, I believe in this prophet and this cultural setting, if that's what makes you feel
if that works
good,
for you, cool.
Great. Or like, I believe we were in some kind of like really fun godlike video game where I get to play all the avatars and you know, good and bad. It's like, you know, I'm just experiencing, and that's fun too. But it almost seems like your art is a reflection of that, like, because you're saying like, well, I don't know, and almost like your art's a little bit of like, do you know what your art's about? It's like,
well, there's I fall into a lot of, you know, sacred geometry, and there are tons of, you know, overlaying of spiritual ideas and concepts. I guess the longer I'm learning, you know, what my spirituality is. But through my work, like teaching me.
I like you.
It's like, oh, no way, like,
right.
Like the pendulum work, I knew I was working with gravity, and like, it's doing these parabolic curves, and like, then it leads to, you know, like, you know, all these scientists like Sir Isaac Newton used the pendulum.
Have you ever used the pendulum for answers?
No.
Dude, a girlfriend taught me, and it really helped me. I was taking jobs or not, depending on the pendulum. Yeah.
That's dope. I mean, I know doctors would use it to read people's energy. I did have an experience where I was making a show in Vienna, and I had an older friend visit me, and he used to work for the UN, and he was stationed in Rwanda. And I was asking the gnarliest questions, because what this dude had seen and experienced is just, it's horrible. And dude, the whole time the pendulum was not doing the pattern. Like, it wouldn't work. It just got to the point where I was just like, I'm not gonna paint tonight. Like let's just drink whiskey, and like, I want to hear more of these crazy stories that, you know, the life that he's experienced, you know. So I've had moments. There was one other time I was doing the pendulum in the basement of One Time Run, and it started doing this like trapezoid pattern. And I thought like there was ghosts or some shit in the basement. I was like, what the fuck? I've never seen it do this. But later on I learned it's because I had it tied on 2 knots. And if you tie a pendulum on 2 knots, it'll do a trapezoid.
It's kind of like an interference pattern.
It turns back on itself too. It actually winds it up, and then it'll wind back and do the same pattern.
But say like just a single string pendulum, there's no wind, and then eventually it circles. and it goes in a direction, and sometimes it's gonna really go, and you're like, where's the wind? Like, have you ever seen, like,
I mean,
like, have you
if
seen
there's no
evidence
wind,
of
there's
spirit?
air has mass, you know, like AC kicks on.
But
like,
what about
like, I've used-
electromagnetics of the air? Like, does that
Your
influence your
breathing, I've noticed there's times where like it's doing something perfect and then I fucking cough from smoking and it throws it off a little, or like somebody opens the door and just the AC kicks on and it changes it. So I'm not trying to debunk that. I think.
So you don't believe that the Earth has electromagnetics that could?
I think that could be affecting it.
Yeah. That's what I'm thinking, because everything
you need a
is
really big pendulum, I feel like. And a lot of times people are holding it, so like your pressure on the string and like.
I try to when I do it. I try to say really. So the way I do it is first I like, yo, pendulum, I need to know if I should take this job. Looks kind of sketchy, but maybe it's a blessing. Go in circles if you say no. Go sideways if you go yes. And then sometimes I'll just go sideways.
Sick.
And then I'm like just holding it really tight, and then I'll go again, and once again I'll be like, okay, I'll also flip the coin. I'll leave it up to spirit divination to kind of like give me like, go for it.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, cool. I don't know. So like your art's almost like divination art, but visualized. And you get to see the pattern of expression. Like, maybe you should talk to it and be like, yo, spirit, like, I'm here in this land. Who's the original spirit of this land? I want you to communicate to us through the movements of this pendulum and show your energy through it. You could do that. I believe that.
I could. I don't know. I was more, like, with the pendulum, I got more interested in, like, because Sir Isaac Newton thought it would be a good clock, but due to air friction, it's not an accurate clock. But it led me to use the pendulum, and I did a series of paintings where the first one was 60 circles that I cut out of wood, and I let it paint for 1 minute, and then you had an hour. And it was just, for me, it was interesting to like, what is time? And time's just a measurement, and like, my time's very different from your time. It was a little tongue-in-cheek as well on like, a lot of, people will value art by how long it takes you to do your work.
Right.
And then
you're kind
I was also selling minutes.
You're giving away your
friends
stats.
And family rates, like, but normally it's $300 a minute. But if friends and family, I'll do $100. Like I was joking around with it. I kind of always am. I don't know.
Now these days you're using music and speakers and vibration that you are making yourself to paint through. Tell me about this.
So, it was like I was on YouTube and saw a guy that hooked up a water hose to a speaker, and he, through the music and the speaker bouncing and the vibration, he was manipulating the wavelength of the water. He also had the camera on slow-mo. So that's how you're able to see it, but see it even more drastically. But you do see it. Like you see the patterns, just not as literal as when it hits the wall and freezes it.
Yeah.
So I saw it. If you could pump water, we could pump paint. And the first one I did was one speaker on a Lazy Susan. So I swiveled it. And that one, like I want to go back to it because it's really cool how it distorts the sound and the pattern.
Yeah.
But I went from that to having it on a dolly and on a track, so that variable was consistent. I knew it was going to work the wall, work the canvas. The other variables were like how fast are you pulling it, and then the sound. I've done songs. It helps. The song does need to have some good bass to it, but it's led to I'm mainly using an 808 on my phone, because the other variable is like the pressure of the paint and then the viscosity of the paint, and we're still learning all of that. We're also figuring out how to like mount them. So like right now we have a tower that has 3 speakers on it. I want it to have, I'm eventually, when I have the budget, like I wanted to have a tower with like, say, 6 speakers on it, and then like each speaker would be a different instrument. So like I could separate a song by like that's the guitar, that's the drum, that's the vocals. Like,
let me picture this. You got 6 speakers towered on each other, and you got a hose of paint on top.
Each one has a hose.
Oh, each one has a hose.
So each speaker has a nozzle, a little hose that is connected to the speaker, and that is fed by a pressure tank, which is a sandblasting tank from Harbor Freight that we pour the paint and pressurize it to like I think 120 psi. And that's the other thing it's like spray paint. There's a low pressure and a high pressure. So it's like there's times where we want a higher pressure and there's times we want a lower pressure. I've only been running this for like a year and a half.
And what are the visual results of the music beats that you're feeding it that creates a pattern that looks like the music?
Yeah, it's the sound wave.
Yeah.
It's literally the sound wave, like the logo of SoundCloud or whatever. Like it's variations on that. The bass is an obvious sound wave.
Yeah.
But depending on the songs, and it has these other little tweaks and little weird patterns. Like we've pulled it off where there's a spiral to it. There's times where like I could see like weird body figures and like we're seeing things in it now. But it's wild that it's doing this mark and hyper repetitive. If I'm playing the same beat or the same song,
yeah,
it's really exciting.
It's almost like a heartbeat, like that. Boom,
yeah,
boom.
It is that.
Yeah.
I mean, I have plans. I've worked with a few musicians. Like, I've had my friend DJing, so like whatever records he was playing, and we found that if we slowed it down, he was just doing it with his finger, the bass would hit longer. So it was really cool, like to work with him. And on that same day, I had my friend He was playing the bass, and he's more from like a punk background. But that day was really magical because like my knowledge of music is like, I'm still learning basic vocabulary and how to even talk about it. But
yeah,
I had these two musicians talking like painters, and it was so because they could see what they're painting. Like his guitar is now a paintbrush.
What's that situation called when people can see music with colors?
Oh, I don't know.
Synesthesia.
That's
So some people can see music and sounds as colors. And you made it possible for your musician homies, and they're like, "Oh man, let's create this pattern."
Maybe I play like, "Oh, I'm gonna do the." Yeah, it's sick. It was really cool.
I'm interested in seeing you play some sound balls that create some very like woo woo, or some didgeridoo, like some wah 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 vibrations. I wonder what that would be. I want to
do every instrument, to be honest.
Some sound healing stuff.
There is like we're learning, like I need to get like there's these foot pedals that you can get that add more bass to anything, and you can hook that up to a turntable. I can hook up to a microphone. I can hook it up to any instrument, because not every instrument's gonna have the depth and the volume of that we need to get the sound wave. But we're still learning that aspect. And there might I would like to do a bunch of songs, but I think it needs to go through a program where I can just accentuate the sounds of that song that everybody knows, to make it paint better.
Yeah, that's so cool. It's fun. It's almost like there's a big string to pull from that one.
Yeah. Cam has a lot of work to do some days.
Yeah. Do you do it with the same colors or different colors?
Right now it's just been like leftovers at the studio. I would, if I had a choice, I kind of what I did with spray paint in the beginning. I only worked at black and whites and grayscale. So it was easier just to focus on the patterns and understand what the paint's doing. The second you add color, there's a whole bag of things that you're dealing with.
Because colors will mix, and then create new colors.
How they work, and it's a totally for something, visually when you're looking at something black and white, it's easier to understand than full color.
Have you ever seen Risk work?
Kelly? Yeah. I've painted with him.
Yeah, I was with him in Naples a couple of weeks ago at a gallery. Arda Russ, shout out. And he was doing his drippy paint stuff. I could see that.
We painted. I went to his studio in was it Oakwoods or whatever, just north of
California.
LA. Yeah, he's just north of LA, and a few nights.
How was it? I've never been.
Fun.
Very
Kelly,
inspiring.
it was a party, man.
Yeah?
This is good times at Kelly. It was Kelly and Scene.
Uh-huh.
Those dudes are they're having a blast. Man.
That's awesome. Sounds like they got a really fun situation going there, as much as
his dude's
LA.
rad, dude. Like, it's pretty rad. They have a really good setup, and his house is there. It's kind of what you got, man. Like.
Oh
Very
yeah,
similar.
well, mine is a very simple version of that. But...
You have the shortest commute to work, you know?
Right?
Like, boom, you're in it.
Yeah, totally. I'm very fortunate. You got a big studio too, right? Like a mini warehouse
it's
to do
outside.
the kind of. Okay.
My inside studio is like 15 by 20 feet.
Okay.
It's like 300 square feet. And then I bought a carport. I've slowly been taking over the outside area of my studio. So there's like a carport, and then it led to last year, I bought this tent that's designed to go on shipping containers.
Okay.
And the two shipping containers is my storage for all my art, and then it created a 20 by 20 square foot space.
Okay.
So that's another 400 square feet.
Your art always has to be done outdoors, right?
No, I've worked in warehouses. We just we call it Dexterize. We cover, ram board on the ground, duct tape and ram board, everything, cover what you don't want to get paint on, and then, which is mainly just cover the floor.
Yeah.
It's just, we didn't have AC, so it was the one warehouse we had, it was 115 degrees in there, so it was just like, I'd rather be outside at this point.
Yeah, same
and
here.
The ventilation's better outside.
Yeah, totally. No, you gotta breathe. Like, do you cover yourself in paints?
Hi, we take this little pause from our conversations for me to let you know that I got a brand new art book. This is my second art book, Shamanic Journey, that just came out with Last Gasp Publications. It's a 256-paged book, full color, shiny, beautiful pages with full of my art, writing, stories, basically everything I've done in the last 13 years. And I worked really hard on this book. It took me months to lay out by myself, and obviously the art has been a labor of love of many years, and I've condensed it all in this beautiful book that now is available on positcreations.net. You can get a signed version, you can get an unsigned version for a little bit cheaper. And yeah, this won't run out of electricity. On this digital world where we gotta charge everything, or a solar flare could knock out the electricity of the world and you'd be like, whoa, where did all my Chris Dyer go? No, this runs on energy forever. You never gotta charge it, you never gotta water it. It'll always be there to give you new inspiration and art. And I've done this with a lot of love, and I hope that you will get a copy for your own personal library. And reflect yourself in it and make your own book and story of your life. But here's mine, and I hope you will enjoy it. positcreations.net. Thank you.
Some days it happens. Sometimes, because we're dealing with these pressurized tanks and the hose. Sometimes, the hose pops and there's paint everywhere, or the gun. They're plastic garden tools. Like, they break, they snap on me sometimes. So the worst one was
Sounds
for
sketchy.
Super Chief. This was the Rainbird sprinkler I set up, and it was on a tripod. It was anytime I go to Home Depot or Ace, I'm like, whoa, look at this! I've never seen this one, right? Like, let's pump paint out of it, and it was pure chrome Rust-Oleum, silver Rust-Oleum enamel, right?
Oh my
God.
God.
The thing is going crazy, and from the pressure, it flips on its side, and it was getting paint on shit that shouldn't get paint on it. I had to fucking run up and grab it, and dude, I was completely covered. I look like Silver Surfer. Like,
oh
full,
my God.
I was covered, and I had to do I probably lost a year of my life because I had to do a paint thinner bath, like just rags, which is like,
oh my God.
it's absorbing. Like, the paint thinner is I wanted it off, like, get it off of me, and then like I'll deal with the paint inside me, whatever. But
that sounds like a nightmare.
Everybody was laughing, but I was.
No, that sounds toxic.
I get it. Like, I laugh about it now, but at the time I was just like, fuck.
Have
call
you investigated and created some kind of regiment to detoxify your body and heavy metals from this situation you're putting yourself
Not as
in?
best as I should, but you know,
Charcoal
I'm getting
pills?
old, man.
Charcoal pills, you take that?
No.
I take charcoal pills at the end of every spray painting day. So
I should.
it just absorbs all the crap and you poop it
there was
out.
the charcoal drinks that were always at at the grocery store. It was more available, but I'm not.
Cilantro.
I'm getting better at getting healthier. Let's say that.
Cilantro. Cilantro removes heavy metals from your body, and it's delicious. Well, I don't really like
Peruvian,
it.
man.
I know. I actually hated cilantro chicken
Really?
as a kid. Yeah,
Does
just
it taste like soap for you? No.
it's just
you
weird.
still like it?
Yeah, but now
Now you do?
now I'll eat it because it's like get the heavy metals out of my body, like especially with the chemtrails.
What's the green soup called? It's the agua.
Aguadito. Yeah, that's
that
great.
soup's fire, man.
Yeah,
You know, a Peruvian that doesn't like cilantro.
I was very gringo of a Peruvian. I was like, when macaroni and cheese made it to Peru, I think I was like 12 years old, and I was like,
That's all I want.
dude, macaroni and cheese. And my friends were like, gringo, loser, whatever. I was just like excited because I was actually like born in Canada and grew up till age 4. So I was kind of like a mini gringo when they threw me in Peru. So like I was excited by like culture from North America. Like, you know, everybody's listening to salsa, picking up the chicks, and I'm like, hip hop and rap and, you know, like skateboarding and all this gringo shit.
Back when America was amazing.
You know,
Or more fun, let's just say that.
I think beautiful culture comes from this culture nonstop. Like,
Oh, it's not gonna stop, for sure.
yeah,
It's
so
just, I don't know, the 90s were...
the 90s were
80s and 90s.
special.
I was born in 1980, so like
I'm 79.
so yeah,
Yeah.
we have a similar like...
We
you
had
know,
the whole 80s kid
Yeah,
years.
there was an answering machine kind of vibe. You had to like, if I fucked up at school, I just had to get back and erase the answering machine before anybody got to hear what was on the answering machine kind of thing. Or like the post-it note, like, oh, they called, I didn't see it, like it fell off. I don't know, like it was a different time. You
Totally.
had time.
Yeah,
Even the pager was
space.
great. Like I was like, bro, there was no payphone. Like nobody cared. Like you got back to them a day later or 2 days later. Like, oh, what's up? You know, it wasn't a thing.
Yeah.
Now, if you don't like answer somebody back within,
And there's so many fucking messages because there's not just like texts and emails now. It's like the DMs from every single social media you signed up for, and you know, it's a lot of responsibility. I give hours of my life every single day to communicate with people I don't know and I'll probably never meet. But I want
That's the fun part of the social media. I like that aspect.
the communicating.
The world's
Great.
smaller on that.
Yeah.
You know? It's the amount of artists.
I don't know if you want.
I'm good, thank you. The amount of artists that you can meet, or the amount of hours work you can see is amazing, and then let alone you can meet them, or through that you can have a dialogue. Some a lot of artists are really open to answer messages from other artists.
Yeah, totally. Who's some artists you've met that on your trips that you're like, oh, that's so cool. I painted along them or helped them out or they helped me.
Or just like a big fan. Like I painted, I think it was last year, 2 years ago, I painted at the Strat Museum and Stephen Powers, Espos, was installing at the same time.
Okay, nice.
And that one I was, a little starstruck kind of vibe, like a big fan of his work. Like,
Where's he from?
He's Philly.
Okay.
From Philly.
Nice.
And he's OG, and we were lucky enough to even Highland rented a boat, and it was Cam and I and Highland and Steve and it's just cool to learn about his life and hear all these wild stories he had but I've been with Primary Flight and bought the whole Wynwood Walls, every artist that I discover in Instagram, so to speak, or whatever, the internet, within a year or so, I feel like they end up painting in Miami. So I'm really lucky to be able to meet, or at least see them paint.
Yeah, totally. That's so special.
I don't know.
Like the first flight thing sounds like when the scene, the street artist, or I think it was street art back then. Now it's more like
It was street art.
muralism.
That
yeah.
was first generation street artists.
Yeah, when
you
it was
know?
still illegal and people were
Yeah.
doing risky things, and then
Yeah.
it could lead to a mural. But now it's just like straight up muralism. Not that there's anything wrong with that. Like
I don't think so at all.
mural if you
It
want,
just-
like, but it's just different vibes.
I mean, there's
you know?
still people going out and putting the work in the streets, but it's not like
It's
you
counterproductive.
don't have to do that.
Yeah.
You can. I don't know. I think what street art did was really awesome. That like, it's an opportunity that a young artist can like be a part of something, and have their foot in the door. I mean, and honestly, when you look at art history, the street art is the largest art movement in the history of art, worldwide.
Yeah, so many people are doing it everywhere.
Because prior to that, it was always these different schools or classes or groups, and it's regional, or they were in Paris or whatever. Or there were these German artists, the New York artists, the London artists. Like it was always this about that city. And then when street art came around, it was everywhere. It was every city.
Yeah.
And you can be a part of this movement. You know, like you didn't. It really broke that rule, which was great.
Yeah. Art, street art-
Accessibility, you know, like I feel like prior to it, you know, pop art broke a lot of those rules, but like, I don't know, it was more for everyone. I feel like if you wanted to get in art and you wanted to paint, what a great way to get your feet wet. You know?
Totally. What a special time when probably by then there was already like hundreds, but still it's relatively small compared to the thousands to millions of street muralist
Still small
painters.
community, I feel like.
Yeah,
right?
compared to anything else, I suppose.
Yeah, it was a
It's-
magical time. Like seeing Twist, Barry McGee.
Yeah.
And like he had, dude, he had like 3 cars turned over, one stacked on it, and like his installations were wild and insane. And then he did a giant twist with a fire extinguisher on this other building, and it was dope, man. Like that was a really magical time, and like
That's so cool.
like I was really lucky to be part of it and be there and witness it, and like I was the dude helping everyone. I wasn't painting. I was helping everybody.
You weren't
else
even
paint.
painting?
No, I was
Oh,
helping
wow.
everybody else paint.
Oh, that's
for
so
a good
cool.
2-3 years.
So it's important to be an intern and put the work at the beginning, you believe?
Yeah, like the first year I helped them was because I was doing a sculpture for Graffiti Gone Global, and they locked me out of the building. Like they wouldn't let me in to finish my work. It was a nightmare. But I went to books and typo. I was like, I need to be busy. Like I really need to be busy. I'll help you buff all the walls. And I was painting murals too. I was still, I was a painter. Just that one was a sculpture. So I went out and buffed walls. It was fun. It's therapeutic. Like buffing a wall white or any color is like, it's extremely therapeutic. I mean, painting in general is super therapeutic for me. So it was a really good way to, have, idle hands are bad for me. Like, if I can work, then I can work it out. I can work through whatever the fuck I'm going through, kind of thing.
That's awesome. Do you ever get
And
stressed?
then they paid me. They brought me back the next year and paid me. And then, I think I was kind of the only guy for the job. It was chaos. Like working with artists is difficult. Now I work with like 60 or 100 of them, and like
Sounds like a
doing
nightmare.
things from like putting gas in the diesel engine, and like
Yeah.
it's like, dude, it's not like this. It was mayhem, and it was awesome. It was. I look back at it at the time, and you'll never be able to recreate something like that.
Oh, that's so awesome, man. I'm so happy you lived that. I'm happy, like, even what I caught in 2011 when it was...
caught the vibe.
It was still
Yeah.
the Wild West
I
in
think-
Wynwood. People were just grabbing any wall they could and
Yeah.
crushing.
I think like up to 2015, 2016, and then it is what it is now. Which is I still think is cool. Like,
yeah, no,
like,
I still go every year, and
I
I
think
appreciate seeing new art
Wynwood
coming
and
up.
Wynwood Walls, like that's awesome that there's a place for this.
Yeah, I love the graffiti
that was-
museum.
For us, like primary, like we were kind of bummed because like Tony, could own the media, like he had the budget for it, so our story was never told, and like I can't speak for the other guys, but like Tony had we found he was on like 60 Minutes, and we're like and it was he had a double lung transplant, and I was like, whoa! First of all, I didn't know you could get a double lung transplant. Second of all, this is really cool that this is this guy's last mission, and he's honoring graffiti and street art. Like, wow, like, goosebumps kind of vibe, and like gained a lot of respect for him, and like I still, to this day, like like it's awesome what happened there, you know.
That's so beautiful, man.
Oh.
Talking about death, do you ever fear for your life when you're painting a giant building?
Yeah.
Somebody told me something about an assistant viewer. I don't know the details, and I don't even know if I should ask you.
2016, I was painting on a swing stage. We were 50 feet up. The cable on my end snapped, and then the swing stage, it was a 45-foot long swing stage, so it came down, and the end, it hit the ground and broke in half. The other half came up, cut Ray's safety line, and flung him 40 feet, and he fell below me. It continued to spin and hit Pucho and dragged him all the way down to about 10 feet off the ground. His head was filleted open.
Oh my goodness.
He survived, no brain damage. Like, he's a champ, like, luckily doesn't remember anything. I had a ledge, which was really lucky for me, because the harnesses aren't designed to help you. They're designed so you don't kill somebody and fall on somebody below.
Oh, wow.
So if you're in those too long, you can get atrophy. So when they go to take you out, if they don't, I don't even know what the stretch is, but if they don't do it right, you could get a blood clot and die, kind of thing.
Oh my goodness.
So I had a ledge.
I gotta know that before I put it on next
I've never,
time.
like, even saying it now, I'm like, I don't really know what the stretch, I don't know what you gotta do, but hopefully they know that there's something you're supposed to monitor. If you've been in it way too long, you could get a blood clot.
What's too long?
I don't even know. I never looked up that either.
Okay.
That should be on the OSHA test, right?
So you were, well, I remember doing the class, but I don't remember shit.
Those are such a joke.
We
We had all our safety gear. We were doing
Okay.
everything you're supposed to do. And what happened was a 2-inch steel rod that was anchored into the ground wasn't anchored enough. So it's something that even if you visually look at it, you don't know.
Yeah.
Like, you can't check it. And it snapped. A 2-inch steel rod broke in half. So yeah, the thing I did for therapy, painting, became my trigger. It was a wild ride, man. I could happily say it's going on 9 years. Since 2020, I would say 2020, after 2020, things got a lot easier for me, but the first 3-4 years was like, man, even the first job, like, dude, it happened in like October, and it hit January, and like, I'm getting no emails, like, no work's coming in. So I had to, like, you know, make a couple calls and be like, dude, I really
still need to pay my bills.
Like, I need to work. Like, I really need to work.
Did it fuck up your career because
no.
people thought you were unsafe? Or
No,
what
I think people think I'm insane. Anyways, I'm okay with scaring people.
Yeah. Why were in the calls coming? Because they wanted to leave you
time.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
That's what I was. And I was like, no. I need to get back at it.
Yeah.
And one of the first ones was D-Face broke his leg, so I got invited. I was the next to do the Belgium project, where it's the shipping containers they stack all crazy at that music festival, Vorkwurster or something, and that was 90 feet up. Yeah, the adrenaline was. I never had height issues ever. The legs shaking nonstop, like I couldn't control them, and like I could feel my adrenaline was like through the roof. On that one, I called Chinny, he's part of the London police.
Yeah, Chinny Bond.
And I caught a train, and he was in Amsterdam. He lives there, and he came and drove the lift for me.
Great.
And he was like, Chinny Bond, like,
he's great.
Dude, he's the best. And he was singing. He was the right guy. Like,
he was singing for you.
Yeah, dude.
With his big blue eyes.
So chill, I just love the police vibe. Like, they give me a jingle, like,
Oh, wow. So you were coming in with your trauma, but you got to keep on working.
He was working through it too. Like, he had just lost his brother.
Oh, wow.
His brother had passed around the same time as Ray, and like, yeah, like, and he did have to. I was playing Kendrick Lamar's album Damn, and that album was on repeat for a while. It just struck a lot of chords with me on that album. But
well, I'm sorry you had to go through that.
That was the only takeaway. I'm sure there's like, you probably didn't listen to that album after that. But he was the right guy to come in, and like, I don't know, I did get back on the swing stage like 2 years ago, but it was a job where it was in an alleyway and we were only like 20, 30 feet. So it didn't, it was the right one to break the ice. I don't know. I'll get back on one.
I've never done it, and it looks horrifying to me. To go on the side of a super tall building into a little basket.
And it's swinging. It's called a swing stage. Like you're pushing yourself off the wall.
I don't know. I don't know.
That motivated like some of these garden tools, like spray and paint out of garden tools, because I wanted to mount them on the swing stage, and then we're all on the ground hitting buttons, and they're spraying all crazy. I call it like a building printer. So this thing would be like
It's kind of like a drone kind of way of painting.
but it's like a printer, you know,
Yeah.
like it's this ding ding ding
Right.
ding ding going down kind of thing, and see it drone vibes, but that drones weren't around when I came up with that. When I was thinking about that,
Have you ever thought of using a drone to paint?
I wanted to buy Katsu's, but it was like $3,500. No, I don't. I think drones are really annoying. The sound of them.
Yeah,
suck.
no, it's scary.
No, I liked what he did. There's another artist that like literally printed a mural with a drone, but that kind of bores me. I like.
It kind of seems like what
I like
ver-
dumbing down technology, or like taking these ready-mades, these things that aren't meant. To paint,
It's
and then
kind of like
getting it
skating
to-
street.
Yeah.
Like if you're a skater, if you skate on the street that's not meant for skating, that's so much cooler. Somebody would have rebuilt it into a skate park or a
Yeah.
skate plaza. It's like, yeah, cool. But
Like, I think
you know.
I'm fascinated by like CNC routers and laser cutters, but they're too hi-fi technology. It's like it's too refined. I would spend more time about how can I get it to fuck up and then get it to do it again and again and again kind of thing.
Yeah. You want the difficulty.
Yeah.
Because there's this like barrier that not a lot of people are gonna go and do that. You're just like,
Yeah. Is it gonna work? I hope it
it's like,
works.
do you want to start playing? Plus, who could play
What's it
your?
gonna do? I don't know. Go
Who
for
could
it.
play your video game of art where you're doing all these random things? It's like when you're already doing it, you know?
Yeah. We did figure out how to get the speaker up and down as well.
Okay.
Like before we did it, we were like, do we have to drop it? Because like, is gravity gonna fuck with the sound wave? And it didn't. The pressure was so high.
What's that study where they use cymatics where they put sand in a pan and then they put music and it creates like either
Well,
distortion or mandalas?
The Buddhist monks will lay out their composition for the mandalas with that technique.
That's awesome.
They'll sand and then cause the vibration and it'll give them the.
So I'm not trying to influence you spiritually again, but it seems like a spiritual manifestation of vibrational consciousness coming through your art.
Yeah. No, it's trying to tell me something.
Oh well, Rhyme. I was speaking with him recently, and he told me to ask you what happened when you met up with him in Paris some years ago.
First night in Paris. I was gonna be there for a month to do a show. That was January 2020. Met up with Rhyme, got to see his studio, and we went to a pizza spot. And he had been there for a minute, but I was fresh in Paris, and it's not that I had my phone out. I was on. It was a 4-top. That's the street. I was on the inside with my phone like right here, and this kid came running, reached over, grabbed it, and dipped. I went to throw my plate at him, and then I was like, holy sh! And then I chased him. I chased him for like 6 blocks. Dude. Almost caught up to him. This kid was fast, dude.
Damn.
Almost caught up to him, and then he dipped again, and then I saw where he went, and he ended up with like 4 other giant dudes. And I was just like, you know what, you can fucking have the phone. Like
Yeah, you win.
I was more like, how do I get back to the apartment that I'm staying at?
Now I don't know the address.
I have no idea how to get there.
And you were with Jill then when that happened, and he just stayed at the restaurant and laughed.
That was also the point too, where it was like, fuck, how do I get back to the restaurant where they are? So luckily I remembered like how to get back. There was apparently a guy running behind me. So even if I caught the guy, I don't know, who knows what happened. But yeah, I had no phone, man. It was fun.
Oh, that's so cool.
I did get back to my apartment. He got me an Uber, but then I had this genius idea that I could find my gallery's apartment. Like I was like, oh, I know where it is. I'll just go to his apartment. and I got completely lost.
How useless
I knew
have
where
we
the gallery
become?
was. I left a note like, "Yo, my phone is stolen," and then like,
Yeah.
I went on this like wild 10-hour walk through Paris, completely lost. It was
How
awesome.
useless have we become without our phones, huh?
Completely.
Like, and
I mean-
and we're old. We lived half our life without it, and now that we've got used to it, we're like, what the fuck's reality anymore? How do I function?
I mean, that
without-
city's a maze too.
Yeah,
like-
no, Paris is
like,
crazy.
And it wasn't my first. Like I had done a show there like a year or two before, and I'd spent like over a month there, and like I kind of knew parts of it, but
Yeah. Did you go to the catacombs?
no. Psycho invited me twice, and the nights he invited me, it was like one was before my opening. I just like, dude, and another time he invited me, I just finished a mural, and I was exhausted. I was like, and I knew it was gonna be. Did you do it?
No, my brother has done it, so he's told me about it.
Did Rhyme tell you about his catacombs experiences?
I believe so when I interviewed him, but I'm forgetting about it.
Psycho, he's this older guy there.
Yeah.
Knows it. He knows a spot down there where it's like these giant barrel vault Roman like spaces.
Wow, so
yeah.
crazy. Kind of like in the movie
I
Into the
regret it.
Spider-Verse.
I wish I like sucked it up, but in my head was like, you know, like risk analysis. Like since my accident, I take a lot of risks still, but
You're so adult now.
I'm trying, man. You know, I got a lot of gray hair. I'm still young. I'm 45 years old, young.
Do you know
so to
Risk
speak.
from before?
Um,
Not Risk, I mean Ryan.
Joe?
Yeah, Joey.
Yeah, loosely, but that was the first time we really met.
Okay.
Was that night?
Okay,
We have a
nice.
lot of mutual friends.
Yeah.
But no, that was the first time we really chilled. And then
I really love Joe. I'm going to see him in a couple weeks. He's going to come to my retreat in Hawaii.
Oh, that's gonna be fun.
Yeah, it's going to be
He's
awesome.
a trip.
Yeah. He's super spiritual, but
Yeah.
like not spiritual. He just is it.
Yeah.
And I love that, you know? But he combines that groundedness of graffiti. And I love other characters like Dax who are starting to like use ayahuasca and then like they're like realize that though they're wounded ghetto child, they can still heal and make the future generations positive and good. And it's really nice to see their path and progress.
The boys, yeah, Dax and Ryan are great.
Yeah, but anyways, talking of the next generation, we're coming to the end of this conversation. Would you like to give some words of encouragement or advice to any young artists who are out there who might have big dreams, but they might not have like the balls to be like, you know what, I'm gonna like stack a bunch of speakers and have paint shoot from out of it and see what happens?
Yeah, kind of that. I mean, yeah, and I think the best advice I could give is embrace failure, and paint and keep painting.
Yeah, awesome.
I'm not gonna. Yeah.
Very simple mantra to life. Doesn't have to be too complicated. Thank you so much, Doug.
Thank you, bro.
Did you feel those shrooms? Or did they get to you at all?
No.
Cool. It's mellow, right?
Yeah. I think my tolerance is maybe, but I haven't had them in a while. It's chill.
Yeah, I'm like
I
got
don't
a
know
couple
if I
beers
felt-
and some weed on me, but I definitely feel very good right now.
Yeah. I could eat a whole bag of them.
Nice. Well, thanks for coming, man. I'll see you next time. And wait.
yeah.
We're gonna have to edit this shit. Sorry, because I'm a little bit chewed up myself right now. But my camera or the general camera?
Just pick one.
Okay.
Dealer's choice at this point.
Sorry, Paulina. But anyways, thank you so much for watching this episode. I hope you enjoy yourself. Make sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Blessings. Woo!
Good job.
Sick.
The mushrooms definitely have made the...
Hit you?
no, I didn't take any. I'm
Oh.
saying you've not been sticking the landings.
On the
because of
endings.
mushrooms.
Next episode, Rhyme MSK.
I believe that graffiti, and especially this modern graffiti, is a way for nature to rebel, to check people out of the hypnosis of what is normal in a progressing society. It's like you go deep enough and then you start to see visions of the future, and they're all invitations, and you see them and either you love them or you reject them. But I see them and it says, this is what can be, Here are all the steps it takes to do that, and it's up to you to do it. And either you feel motivated to do it or you don't. There are all these different ways to access that pool of imagination that we are all tethered to. I say that we exist within the imagination of God. And even that term God, whatever that is, we all exist within this network of it. And there is no escaping it. Even if you acknowledge all this as nothing, it is a held together network that we belong to, and it's building and it's expanding.
So please make sure to subscribe, like, comment, and share. Big thanks, and see you next episode. Peace.